Eric Dane grew up in a middle-class family in San Francisco, where he was the youngest of two children. His mother, Leah Dane, was a devoted homemaker, while his father, William Melvin Dane, was an architect and interior designer. When he was 7 years old, his father died of a gunshot wound, an event that left a deep scar on the young Eric. He has said that in the days after his father's death, he would sit alone in his room, looking out the window and wondering why life was so unfair. His mother worked hard to raise him and his brother, and he grew up without a father figure, a void he could never fill. From a young age, he showed a passion for the arts, participating in school plays, and dreaming of one day standing on the big stage. But the road to Hollywood was not only filled with light, but also with darkness that he had to face alone. The greatest sadness in Eric Dane's life, perhaps, is the years he struggled with addiction and depression, shadows that almost destroyed his career and life. In 2008, right when he was at the peak of his career as Dr. Mark Sloan in Grey's Anatomy, he was hospitalized for treatment of painkiller addiction. He once said that it all started with a back injury during filming, when he had to take medication to control the pain. But gradually, the medication became more than just a painkiller, but an escape from the pressures he had to endure. The pressure of fame, from a tight work schedule, and from personal traumas that he had never shared with anyone. He once sat alone in his hotel room after a long day of filming, looked at the bottle of pills, and cried because he felt out of control, wondering if he could overcome it. That sadness became even more profound when he had to face the separation from his family during the most difficult times. When he was hospitalized for rehab in 2011, he could not be with Rebecca Gayheart and her two young daughters, Billy Beatrice, born in 2010, and Georgia Geraldine, born in 2011. He once said that, when he called Rebecca from the rehab center, he heard his daughter crying on the phone, and he burst into tears because he felt guilty towards his family. He felt that he had failed not only himself, but also the people he loved the most. His mother, who had always been his spiritual support, visited him during that time, and when he saw her holding his hand and crying, he felt even more guilty for letting her worry in her old age. Another sadness that Eric Dane experienced was the death of his father when he was young, an event that shaped his personality and the way he looked at life. He once said that when his father passed away, he did not understand why he left him, and that feeling of loss followed him throughout his adult years. One time, he stood at his father's grave on a trip to San Francisco, crying over the things he had not had the chance to say to him, like thanking him for inspiring him to pursue art, or apologizing for the times when he was not strong enough. That sadness was not only about loss, but also about regret for not being able to change the past, and it became an inseparable part of his soul. Eric Dane's career is a thick book, recording the bright pages of success and the dark chapters of failure. He began his acting career in 1991 when he appeared in an episode of Saved by the Bell. In the early days, he was just an unknown actor, receiving small roles in TV series such as The Wonder Years and Married with Children. He once said that he once auditioned for a role but was rejected immediately, and he sat in his car, crying because he felt like a failure. He had to work non-stop, moving to Los Angeles in 1993 to look for opportunities, living in a small apartment and working part-time jobs to make ends meet. His first big break came in 2000 when he landed the role of Jason Dean in Charmed. Not only did this role bring him attention, it also served as a stepping stone to further his career. But his real success came in 2006, when he was cast as Dr. Mark Sloan in Grey's Anatomy. With his handsome looks, blonde hair, and charming smile, he quickly became McSteamy, one of the series' most beloved characters. He once said that when he got the role, he cried tears of joy in the car on the way home, feeling that all his years of struggle had finally paid off. He appeared in over 130 episodes from Season 2 to Season 8, and the role brought him global fame, along with a nomination at the Satellite Awards. However, his road to success was not without its setbacks. Before Grey's Anatomy, he starred in The Basket, 1999, a commercial failure that made him doubt his abilities. He once said that after the film's low box office, he sat alone in the theater, crying because he thought he would never be recognized. He also failed to maintain a film career after Grey's Anatomy, when films like Valentine's Day, 2010, and Burlesque, 2010, only brought him limited success, not enough to make him an A-list star. He tried his best to try his hand at leading roles, like in Marley Me, 2008, but could not compete with the bigger names. His career was severely interrupted in 2011, when he had to leave Grey's Anatomy to receive treatment for addiction. He once said that when he returned to the set after rehab, he cried because he was worried that the audience would no longer accept him. But he overcame it, continuing to play Mark Sloan until the character died in Season 9, 2012, a decision the writers made him sad but accepted as part of the story. He then returned to star in The Last Ship, 2014 to 2018, an action series on TNT where he played Captain Tom Chandler. He spent months preparing for the role, learning how to control the ship and studying military affairs. And when the show was successful with 5 seasons, he cried with pride when he saw that he could still stand up after the dark days. His return to Euphoria, 2019 to present, is a testament to his unyielding spirit. He played Cal Jacobs, a complex character with many layers of emotions, and the role brought him new recognition from young audiences. He once said that when filming heavy psychological scenes, he cried because he sympathized with the character. And when the first season was well received, he cried again because he knew he could still shine. The tears he shed in the studio or on set were not a sign of weakness, but a symbol of resilience, a man who constantly strives to assert himself and bring joy to the audience. In Eric Dane's heart, there are always great goals that he relentlessly pursues. He not only wants to become a famous actor, but also an artist who can leave his mark on the history of cinema and television. With more than 30 years in the entertainment industry, he has participated in more than 50 large and small projects, from Grey's Anatomy to Euphoria, and he always aims to try his hand at diverse roles. He once said that every time he received a new script, he spent hours researching the character, and when he was cast in The Last Ship, he cried with emotion, feeling that he was one step closer to his dream of becoming a leading actor. He also craved recognition at major awards. Although he had been nominated at the Satellite Awards, he had yet to win an Emmy or a Golden Globe, and this motivated him to constantly improve himself. He had participated in X-Men, The Last Stand, 2006, as Multiple Man, and although the role was not too prominent, he tried his best to learn from veteran actors like Hugh Jackman. He once said that when the film was released, he sat in the theater with his mother, crying with pride when seeing his name on the big screen, even though he knew he still had to try harder to reach the same stature as his other colleagues. Another accomplishment he strives to achieve is being a proud father and husband. After marrying Rebecca Gayheart in 2004, he welcomed 2 daughters, Billy and Georgia, and he always tries to balance his career and family. He once said that he missed a performance of Billy's at school because of filming schedules, and when he came home and saw his daughter sad, he cried out of guilt. He took time off after The Last Ship to spend time with his children, go on family outings, and when he saw Billy and Georgia smiling, he cried out of happiness, knowing he had done his role as a father. He constantly challenges himself with new projects. He learned how to sail a ship for The Last Ship, studied psychology for Euphoria, and even tried his hand at film production with a few small projects. For him, Success is not just about fame or awards, but the satisfaction of looking back on the journey he has gone through, and knowing that he has lived his life to the fullest, with passion and responsibility. Eric Dane's love and marriage to Rebecca Gayheart is a story that is both beautiful and challenging. They met in the late 1990s at a Hollywood event, when Rebecca was a famous actress with her role in Beverly Hills 90210, and Eric was still struggling with supporting roles. He once said that when he first saw Rebecca, he was captivated by her smile and warmth, and it took him months to muster up the courage to ask her out for dinner. They started dating in 2001, and after 3 years of dating, they married on October 29, 2004, in a private ceremony in Hawaii, with only close friends and family present. Their early years of marriage were filled with happiness. Rebecca once said that Eric was a romantic man, often giving her flowers and writing loving notes. When Billy was born in 2010 and Georgia was born in 2011, they built a cozy home together in Los Angeles. He once said that once he stood in the bedroom watching Rebecca rock the baby to sleep, and he cried because of the feeling of completeness that the family brought. But their marriage was not always smooth, and major challenges came, threatening the happiness they had built. The biggest sadness